So we are looking at the Euler's equation of energy transfer in turbo machines. Now, as shown in the figure, there are three components for the absolute velocity, that is axial velocity, radial velocity and tangential velocity, VA1, VR1 or VF1 and VW1 respectively. Now, as we have seen in the previous lecture, the velocity in the axial direction causes the axial momentum, and the rate of change of axial velocity momentum is nothing but the force exerted in axial direction, and this change in momentum gives rise to the change in axial force, which is taken care by the thrust bearing for the stationary rotor casing. So as we have seen already, next the radial velocity change causes the change in momentum in radial direction, which is also taken care by the radial journal bearings, okay, to take the load in radial direction. So these two forces are of not any importance for us, okay, these are not the desired forces which we are looking for. Basically we are looking for the third component of the force, which is given by the tangential component of velocity, and that is nothing but VW1 and VW2. So we know from Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum is nothing but the force exerted on the fluid. So here the force is given by derivative or time derivative of the change of momentum. So F is equal to d m2 VW2 minus m1 VW1 divided by dt. Okay, so F, that is force, is equal to m2 and m1. Both are the time rate of change of mass, okay, that is constant according to the continuity equation. So m1 dot is equal to m2 dot. Hence you can take out m2 or m1 outside the bracket as m dot, and force you can write as m dot into VW2 minus VW1. It should not be per unit time here. It should be only F is equal to m dot into VW2 minus VW1. So from force you can easily calculate the torque, which is given by torque is equal to force into radius. Now it is again given by force, we know, that is rate of change of momentum. Okay, so momentum, rate of change of momentum is given by this term. You have to multiply by the radius. Okay, so for outside momentum you have to multiply by the radius r2, and for the inside momentum you have to multiply by the radius r1. That's why the equation will be torque will be equal to the derivative of m2 VW2 r2 minus m1 VW1 r1 with respect to time. So you know m1 dot is equal to m2 dot, hence it is taken as outside the bracket. So torque is equal to m dot into VW2 r2 minus VW1 r1. Hence the torque, this torque is nothing but it is per unit time now. So the rate of energy transferred to the fluid is then given by energy. So you know that the energy or the power is given by 2 pi nt by 60. So here we have omega as 2 pi n by 60, which is nothing but 2 pi nt by 60. Hence torque into the angular velocity omega gives you the power, and that power is given by m dot into bracket VW2 r2 into omega minus VW1 r1 into omega, because omega is same for the complete device or for the complete machine. Hence it is equal to m dot into VW2. Now r2 into omega, it is the radius into angular velocity, so it is nothing but your linear velocity, which is given by u2 minus VW1 into r1 into omega is u1. So it is the equation, which is a famous equation now, that is given by energy or the power is equal to m dot into VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1. So you have to remember this equation, and this is the equation which is called as the governing equation for turbo machines, or Euler's equation of energy. So this equation you have to remember. Similarly, its derivation. So the above equation is known as Euler's equation in relation to turbo machine, and generally in case of turbo machines, whether it is turbine or pump, we are going to talk in terms of head, because you might have heard that the turbine is installed on a at the base of the dam, which is of this much height. So this height, which is called as a head for that particular turbine, is nothing but the energy or the power can be expressed in terms of head. So potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, and that kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy, and further into electrical energy. So this head is expressed, or it is generally energy is expressed in terms of head. You know, energy is equal to mgh, or power is equal to m dot gh. So if you equate this power with this equation, so you will get m dot gh is equal to m dot into VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1. Hence head will be equal to this m dot will get cancelled, and you will get h is equal to VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1 upon g. So this is called as a energy in terms of head. So head is given by this equation, and that is also known as Euler's head. So this head is also known as Euler's head. So you have to remember both of these terms. Energy or power is given by m dot VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1, and the Euler's head is given by VW2 U2 minus VW1 U1 upon g. So this is about the basic governing equation for the turbo machines. Now let us move to the losses associated with turbo machines. So generally any type of device is having losses, as you know. So which are the losses coming under turbo machines? So the first type of loss is called as a hydraulic loss. Now the hydraulic loss is nothing but it is because of the friction between the fluid. So water layer is having friction, and that causes the losses, and that losses are called as the hydraulic losses. Similarly, there is separation, contraction, that we have seen in our fluid mechanics course also. Sudden expansion, sudden contraction, all these are nothing but losses, loss due to friction. So all these are coming under hydraulic losses. So that should be taken into care, and these hydraulic losses causes the reduction in output, and which gives rise to a efficiency, output upon input, that is called as a hydraulic efficiency. That we will see in detail when we will see the turbines. Then the second type of loss is called as a leakage loss, which is nothing but it is because of the leakage in the flow. There is some leakage of the fluid in the turbine or in the pump or compressor. Now that reduces the volume of the fluid which we are going to take out. So that is resulting again in volumetric efficiency of turbo machines, which is given by actual volume upon theoretical volume. So that is called the leakage losses. And the last type of losses is the mechanical losses. The mechanical losses are nothing but, as you have studied this in your design subject also, the mechanical efficiency, which is nothing but which is because of the friction between the mechanical parts. The bearing, journal, that is shaft and bearing. So this friction is the cause of mechanical efficiency, and that is the output of the resulting machine. So these are the different losses associated with the turbo machines. Next we are going to see the applications of turbo machines. So in applications of turbo machines, as we have studied, there are so many applications of turbo machines: turbine, compressor, fan, blower, aerospace industry, automotive industry, marine. All these are the applications of turbo machines. Besides this, there is application of turbo machines in medical field also. Nowadays, especially the dentist in medical field, they are using the tiny motors or tiny drills, you can say, which are used for drilling the drilling of your teeth. So that is used by the dentist. So that is a very So that much minute application of turbo machines is there in our day-to-day life. So this is about the first part of the unit number 1. Now let us move towards the second part, that is the impact of jet. Now hence further we are going to study all the forces which are exerted on the turbine blades, or you can say plates. Okay, that is nothing but, that force is nothing but, it is called as the impact of jet. Now as we know that the liquid which is coming out from any pipe, it is in the form of a jet. Okay, now generally the pipe is provided with some sort of nozzle at its end, front end. So that is nothing but to increase the velocity of the jet of that fluid. So when it comes with a high velocity, that high velocity is having force, and that kinetic energy is imparted on the plate. Okay, and that exert the force on the plate. And how to calculate that force is nothing but by Euler's equation. So we are calculating that force by rate of change of momentum, and that we have seen the types of the forces. Okay, so generally we are going to find the force exerted by the fluid on the plate. So there are different cases how these forces are calculated. So some plates are fixed and some plates are moving. So we are having some cases in which we are going to calculate these forces. So this equation, which is nothing but Newton's second law of motion, is also known as impulse momentum equation, and this equation we are going to apply for the different cases. So the cases are divided into 4 types mainly. First one is stationary, that is fixed plate. In that we are going to consider 3 cases: vertical plate, inclined plate, and curved plate. Then we are going to see a special case, that is called as a hinged plate, where you are having the plate in hinge condition, that is it is hanging. Okay, so you can have the motion of the plate, okay, about a hinge. And third case is for moving plate. Okay, so actually first case and the third case, these are the comparable. That is nothing but in first case you are having the plate as a fixed, so you are exerting the force on a fixed plate, while in the third case you are having the plate is also moving. So when you are exerting the force, the plate starts moving, and that is our objective, that plate should move to produce work. Okay, so in moving plate we are mostly interested, and the conditions are same: vertical plate, inclined plate, and curved plate. And the last one, that is the series of vanes. In series of vanes we are going to consider the number of plates. Now here in the case number 1 or 2 and 3, there are only single plate. These are only single plate, and we are going to consider the forces on that single plate only. But while producing, if you want to increase the output or the work done, so you have to use number of plates. Okay, so there are series of plates mounted on the shaft, and that is called as a series of plates, and that is also one of the last condition that we are going to see. So in impact of jet we will see one by one all the conditions in the in this coming part 2 of unit number 1. So let us consider the case number 1, that is vertical stationary plate or fixed plate. Now if you see in the diagram, okay, you can see that there is a jet of water. This jet of water is striking to the plate, which is fixed plate. That's why it is called as a fixed plate. And this jet of water is striking to the fixed plate, and we are interested in what is the force exerted by the jet on the plate. And we are going to use simply the impulse momentum principle to calculate this force. So here consider a jet of water coming out from the nozzle, which is striking a flat vertical stationary plate as shown in figure. V is the velocity of the plate, d is the diameter of the jet. Okay, this diameter is required to calculate the area of the jet, and A is nothing but your area of cross section of the jet, which is given by pi by 4 d square. And this is about the preliminary information which is required to calculate the force. In the next lecture we will see how to calculate this force exerted by the jet. Thank you.